Hey, what's up, everyone? I want to welcome you to another episode of Here's What I Think with your host, Charles Tabansi, where we cover everything from current events, economics, politics, and how it all relates to business and life. Let's get into today's topic. Today, I want to talk a little bit about polling. Yesterday, we discussed some of the economic policies from both candidates in terms of their tax plans and other things that they have in mind. And we also spoke a little bit about Damon Dash breaking his silence on the Sean Diddy Combs situation that he finds himself in. But today, I want to talk a little bit about the data coming up in some of these battleground states, because I think it's very, very important that we discuss this now. Now, first of all, let's talk about some of the key battleground states. We have states like Arizona, Michigan, Georgia, Nevada, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania. Now, I want to go over some data that I found yesterday. Actually, this website was referred to me by my brother Ruben, who's a huge politics buff. He follows this stuff a lot. And he referred me to it, and they have some very, very good data. So the website is called 538.com, and you can essentially go through every single state and look at where candidates stand. So I want to show it to you guys now, and let's look at some of the data in Arizona. It says who's ahead in Arizona, updating average for each candidate in 2024 presidential polls, accounting for each poll's recency, sample size, methodology, and house effects. As we currently speak on September 25th, you can see the data there. It says that Donald Trump has virtually a 1-point lead over Kamala Harris in the state of Arizona. So that state right there is kind of trending in the direction of Donald Trump. Let's look at another state here. Let's look at Michigan. Let's see how these candidates are faring in Michigan. Now, if you look at Michigan, Harris has a 2-point lead. Now, remember, there's a margin of error here to bear in mind. So, but she has a 2.4% lead there in, Michigan. Let's look at some other states here. Let's look at Georgia. Georgia is another key battleground state. As we're looking at the poll here, Donald Trump is currently leading. As you can see, in Georgia, he has a 48.2% lead over Kamala Harris, who's at 47%. So he's up 1.2 points there. And then, of course, you have North Carolina. Let's pull up North Carolina here. And let's take a look at what some of the data says there. North Carolina, Donald Trump has half a percentage point lead. So basically it's a tie there, but he's still leading there. He has the edge there. Let's look at Pennsylvania as well. That's another key battleground state as well. Swing state. Harris has a lead there of 1.3%, right? These are exceptionally close margins for these various candidates. And now let's look at Wisconsin as well. Let me see if we can pull up Wisconsin here. And in Wisconsin, Harris has a 1.9 lead in Wisconsin. If you look at this polling data, it's essentially telling you that it's a close race. Like, it's virtually a close race. And I don't want to spend too much time focusing on general polls, because I think some of these general election polls, I think they could be a little bit misleading. Like, they can have people feeling like, oh, well, this candidate here may be doing, they have this thing in the bag and all of that. Now, I want to get to the next part of this. And this is from a Reuters.com a map here, a graphic. I want to show you guys the various electoral college votes, right? And we want to put up this graphic for you. On the left, you can see the battleground states. On the right, let's look at some of the electoral college votes. Some of these states are going for 6, some have 11, some have 16, some have 20, some have 15, some have 16, and some have 10. Now, let's get into the profile of these various states when we're talking about the voters. I want to read quickly from a BBC article here, and it says 7 swing states to decide the 2024 U.S. election. Now, let's look at it state by state. Arizona has 11 of 538, talking about electoral college votes. State population has 7.4 million people. The winner in 2020 was Joe Biden, and he won by 10,000 votes. So very, very close margin. Georgia has 16 of the 538 electoral college votes, has a population of 11 million people. And in 2020, Joe Biden won that state again by a pretty slim margin of 13,000 people, considering the size of the state and obviously the amount of people that voted, which I don't know right now. We look at Michigan. They have 15 electoral college votes, and they have a population of 10 million people. And Biden won that state. This is a more convincing margin. He won that state by 150,000 votes. Now, if we go back and look at the poll, let me see how Kamala's doing right now in Michigan versus the president back in 2020, and she has a 2-point lead. So she seems to have found a way to still have a lead in Trump over there. And then, of course, we have Nevada, which has 6 electoral votes. We have 3.2 million people living there, and Biden won that one by 34,000 votes. We have North Carolina. Donald Trump won that state by 74,000 votes, very convincing. But get this, it has 16 electoral college votes. Very, very pivotal state. Pennsylvania has 19 electoral college votes with 13 million people, and Biden won that state last year by 82,000 voters. And of course, you have Wisconsin, which has 10 with 21,000 votes that swung in the direction of President Biden that helped him win that state. So look, the state of this election is very, very close. I just saw an article not too long ago from Reuters, talking about Kamala she's leading in the polls nationwide. These nationwide polls really don't matter. Why? Because most of these states are pretty much going to stay what they are, right? So if you're spending too much time focusing on those other states, to be frank with you, you're wasting your time. This election is going to come down to these battleground states. That's the reason why they're spending so much money in those states. Now, how do I see this thing breaking? As I said before, the margin of error is there, right? It's not like as if these candidates have a 5-point lead or a 6-point lead, so you're out of the margin of error, which could swing by 3 points in any direction, 6 overall. So to me, something tells me, let me say this, let me put it this way. Something tells me Kamala will win, but I wouldn't be surprised if Donald Trump wins. Let me put it that way. Something tells me Kamala will win, but I will not be surprised if Donald Trump wins the election. That's what my gut is. Now, I was arguing with my brother about this. He feels Trump is going to win, right? He feels Trump is going to win, and we had this back and forth last night about it. But to me, something is just telling me that, right? Something is telling me that, especially when you look at new registered voters, a good amount of them are indicating that they're going to vote for Kamala. So we'll have to see, right? We'll still have to see. We have a long way to go until the November election. There's still a lot to do. There's still a lot of campaigning. There's still things that could happen that can move this election in any particular direction. So we'll have to see, and we're going to try to keep you guys updated to the best of our ability. So these are our thoughts. The question to the audience is, how do you see this race panning out, dude? Who do you have winning this election based on the data we've given you guys today? Whatever you guys think, leave your thoughts in the comments, and we'll catch you guys on the next show.